Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back inside the Lock Shop. Nielson and Huss back with you once again, looking to deliver some more dubs, courtesy of our friends at Coolbet. Sign up for an account today at coolbet.com. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit of $200. Follow us on our YouTube channel at Lock Shop Bets on YouTube as well. Huss, pretty good night inside the Lock Shop last night, right?
I mean, it was it couldn't get much better. Basically, it was impossible for both of us to go perfect because we were on the other sides of that Carolina-New York Islander game, and I will maintain I and the Islanders got absolutely jobbed last night. But most importantly, we were back with a vengeance. A beautiful plus 430 exclusive cashes for the Lock Shoppers in the Coolbet exclusives. And everything else that we were on came through. You were 4-0. I was 3-1. We hit the exclusive. So I dare say we've had a nice start to the Stanley Cup playoffs so far. And now it gets interesting because we get into these game twos where we've seen one game of the matchup in all of these series. And, some will look for big bounce backs like, of course, happened last night in game two with the Oilers coming back and getting that big win, as well as the Dallas Stars. Very interested to see what we get from the Jets and Vegas Golden Knights tonight. We're going to be getting into this on Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up at 1 o'clock here in Winnipeg at the top of the hour. But Vegas not pleased with the way they came out on home ice, and not surprising. I mean, they were basically dominated for a full 60 minutes. So how Vegas...
What a huge game tonight, buddy. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets to really get a stranglehold on this series, but I don't think anybody thought this was going to be easy for either team, and I certainly don't think it will. It should be a great game tonight. And, of course, we see what's left of the Leafs. I was high on the Leafs going in, and I hate being overreaction guy, but everything about that game just gave me a bad feeling about what's happening for the Leafs. Now, again, we need to remind ourselves that the Leafs crushed Tampa in game one of their series last year and still ended up losing in 7. So I hesitate to be too overreactive to what we've seen in these first games going into tonight. That being said, teams like Vegas, teams like Toronto, the New Jersey Devils, and absolutely the Colorado Avalanche as well, all, very, very important, especially for Vegas, Jersey, and Colorado, needing to get that win to just to not avoid going on the road down 2-0 in their first round best of 7.
I did feel a little greasy getting that Carolina money line last night. I mean, the Islanders got a pretty raw deal in that hockey game. Oh, my God. Islanders, man, if that would have happened here in Edmonton, people would have been losing their shit still. They wouldn't have left the rink. They would have been losing their mind.
Well, the players wouldn't have been able to get off the ice because there would have been so much shit on the ice. I mean, if the Oiler fans were mad and threw a bunch of garbage on the ice after game number 1, what would have happened? And I'll tell you what, if that game was in Long Island last night, the refs might have had a tough time leaving the building. If you missed it, in overtime, 3-3, Scott Mayfield takes a wild, careless high stick right to the face, goes down, completely ignored by the referees, and the Carolina player that had the puck literally went right around him, bang, bang, in the net, overtime winner, 2-0. And then when you hear them talk after the game and you kind of look at the game sheet, the Islanders had 6 penalty killing chances. The Carolina was 1 for 6 on the PK. Islanders did not get a single power play in the entire game. So again, I try not to be crap on the refs, guys. And there'll be calls that are missed, but man, in overtime with something like that, I mean, that really was the difference between that game continuing on or being over right now. And I don't blame Islander fans, or in this case, Islander wagers, for being a little disappointed with what happened last night.
I saw you know how it is, playoffs officiating interesting. I saw so far in that Oilers Kings series, the Kings have had over 16 minutes of power play time. The Oilers haven't even had 4 minutes of power play time just yet. So we'll see how that plays out as that series shifts to Los Angeles as well. But it seems like there's a lot of disparity in some of these series right now with some of the special teams.
I like the way that you put it out there. The 4 minutes of power play time. They also score 15 seconds into every power play they get. So,
they do that. That's out there too. That's a really good point.
We might want to go with opportunities because, but by the way, the other one that came in yesterday, when we had our totals go in, and I felt that Draisaitl goal, and that did not. That's one of the great things of picking a goal score as opposed to a money line or a total. You can win that sucker in the first 5 minutes. And man, I mean, I know we focus on Connor McDavid for obvious reasons, but I really do wonder how much of a star, what we'd be saying about Leon Draisaitl if he was the superstar on another team that didn't have Connor McDavid. Because certainly when you look at his playoff resume, it's actually better than Connor's. I mean, he's right up there, second only to Wayne Gretzky with points per game in playoffs in NHL playoff history. Absolutely incredible. He comes up big time, and I'm not sure we'll be able to get plus money on dry goals going forward, but it was nice
probably
to hit it
not
last night, and I appreciated him doing it as early as he did.
That was tough because so he got that. McDavid had the assist. All I needed was one more McDavid point the rest of the way to also hit that other one, which one of my buddies texted me. He goes, "Oh, I'm glad I got in on the ride with Dusty." This was after that early goal because we're thinking, of course, McDavid's going to get another point now. Because he actually did sneak it in at the plus 875 when it was first posted. He screen capped it to me. He goes, "I got it at 875." I was like, "What?" I thought they changed that immediately. He goes, "I must have bet it the moment you tweeted it." So he was on that at plus 875 last night, and then it doesn't hit because McDavid got held to just 1 point. But that would have been something. That would have been something.
He was on the ice at the end. I mean, I basically thought, but we all know how this is going to end. He's going to get it on a stick. He's going to just skate around for a while, pop it in an empty net, and that's going to be the way that bet cashed. But it was Leon Draisaitl, 2 Evander Kane, 2 members of my playoff draft team. So I was kind of nice to see that happen. But yeah, I mean, listen, big game for the Oilers, and I imagine the text line, the
people were very happy today. Yeah,
vibe check on the Nielsen show this morning was a little more calm, cool, and collected.
I would say the consensus is Oilers in 5. Like that's that was we had calls today. Dusty, listen, I know we can't take them lightly, but after what I saw last night, Oilers in 5. So it's on now. I look for the gentleman's sweep here. So we'll see if they can get that done. Before we get to tonight, I want to get to one quick comment on the Twitter live stream. Comes in from Kill17. It says that parlay was a great cash in last night, guys. You are unreal. I like that. I like the support. It's been, I mean, NFL season was really good, and it's been a nice start to the NHL playoffs, which we hope to continue tonight, Huss. And we're thinking along the same wavelength. And this is a good example today on how you can change and get different value in different games. So take me through your picks here, Huss.
Well, okay. Now we'll get to, we've got another exclusive teed up. The one game that, I mean, we're going to pick this in the lock shop and I'll throw a little sprinkle on it, but this is not one I'm putting on any parlays, is the Toronto Tampa game. I don't have a strong feel on this on either side. I assume, and you would think that Toronto comes back with one of their best performances of the year and wins this game. But to be frank, they were so underwhelming in game number 1. You've got the Bunting suspension, all the noise, all the pressure, which has been ramped up by 10 from game 1. And we're still wondering where the hell they were in game number 1. The one thing I know about Tampa is they're going to bring it. I think they, unlike last year where they had to sort of bounce back from that terrible first game, I think they realize that they've got a massive opportunity tonight to go for the jugular and really make the Leafs feel like the walls are caving in around them. And I'll be watching the first period of this game to see what happens. I wouldn't even be surprised. I wouldn't even mind maybe going like a first period money line or something on Tampa on this game. But I'm going to take the plus money. I mean, to me, I just think this number is too high. When you saw what happened in game number 1, I think this one should be closer to maybe minus 115, plus 105, something like that. But Tampa, and the Leafs are the most public team. Betting against the Leafs, you're always going to get a good number in Canada. So I'm going to go with Tampa on the money line again. This is a very light play right now, and this is not something that I felt like putting in any parlays or in the exclusive. But we'll take Tampa on the money line and see what happens. The one team I am taking on the money line, and I see this number has changed quite a bit, is Colorado. This was minus 190 or minus 195 a little earlier. It's down minus 214. Again, this is not a number that I'd normally bet on its own. I know we talked about you've got it in a Colorado regulation. I think that's probably the way I'd end up playing it if I'm looking at the odds right now. But when I got it in with the other plays that we've got, it was minus 190, and I figured I could sort of stomach that. Credit to the Kraken. I didn't see that coming. I don't think a lot of people did. I was watching the Jets game, so I didn't really see how they did it. Caught the last 10 minutes of the game. But if there's a team that I think we can confidently expect a massive bounce back tonight, it's got to be the defending Stanley Cup champs, knowing what's at stake in that first round series. So give me Colorado. Now, I do like Jersey, I think, to even up this series if I was going to play it on either side. But I really like Jersey to figure out a way to score a couple goals and get that mojo back that they've had from a really lethal offense all season long. They were in a bad position. They got down early, and getting down early against a team like the Rangers with a goaltender like Shesterkin and the playoff experience they've had, not a recipe for success. So I'm actually going to jump on the over again because I've got a lot of time for the Rangers. I did pick them to win the series, but I think this one's going to go deep. So I'm going to go with the over 5.5 on this one with New Jersey and the Rangers. I think they will get a couple past Shesterkin. But I also think that the Rangers have a lot of confidence right now in their offense. And, former Caps goalies did not do very well in game number one. Samsonov for the Leafs and Vachanik for the Devils. So I think there'll be some goals tonight. Both of these teams can score. I know we've seen some lower scoring games at the beginning of series. We certainly saw the goals come last night in a place like Dallas. Although, talk about galaxy braining yourself. Starting Fleury after the game that Gus put up in that double overtime.
What are you doing? I mean, I know Fleury's a veteran. He's done all this stuff. There's no way they should have done that.
It almost felt like they owed him the start.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you don't know
do that in the playoffs.
Anything. You know what you owe? You owe your team giving them the best chance to win, and Everson did not do that last night. Anyways, I'm going to go with the over in the Jersey Rangers game at 5.5. I would not take it at 6 or 6.5, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then there's the Jets Vegas game. Now, the number on this one, this was my plus 120 when I saw it earlier on. I think a lot of people are jumping on Vegas on the money line tonight to have that big bounce back that I think everyone expects them to have. The one thing I'll say is that the way the Jets played in game number one, they are going to get theirs. And while I do believe Vegas probably does a bit better of a job offensively, I still think the Jets, especially if it's Laurent Brossoit again in net, are going to be able to score theirs. So while I would like to, and I'm optimistic that plus 133 is in play for a Jets money line play, I'm going to stick with what won it for us in game number one, and that's the over 5.5. We're going to take that total. And as I said, when I don't bet the Jets, they win. So I'm not betting them tonight. But we will look for some goals to go in and be a good hockey watching night if we can get over 5.5 in both of those games and see pretty good games between Colorado and obviously the Tampa Bay Lightning needing to win against the Leafs.
I'm gonna try to run back what we did a couple nights ago, where you hit the over and I hit the under with the 6 goals in that Vegas Winnipeg game. I just like there's a great advantage for the Jets in net and Hellebuck, obviously. Vegas is usually a pretty stingy team defensively, and with what's on the line tonight, I have to think that they're going to tighten things up defensively, which to me leads to a 3-2-ish, maybe a 4-2 game again, which would be absolutely perfect. So I do think Vegas is going to try to tighten things. They have to. I mean, they can't do what they did in game one again. Toronto or Winnipeg will certainly take advantage of that. So I'm gonna say that Vegas tries to tighten up. I went and looked back. Vegas is usually pretty good defensive hockey team. Now, obviously, between the pipes, there's that big advantage for Winnipeg. But I'm going to go under 6.5 in that game at minus 161 for parlay purposes, if you do want to throw that in there. I'm with you on the Devils and Rangers over 5.5. I like that number at minus 116. Colorado's not. I'd be stunned. I mean, I'll look like an idiot if they do fall behind 2-0, but they're not falling behind 2-0. And if Colorado's going to bring it tonight, I think Colorado's going to bring it enough to get it done in regulation, which gets you that number at minus 128. They can't even get pushed to overtime by Seattle in the second game. That alone is way more than I would expect from the Kraken 2 games into this series. And then the Tampa-Toronto game, I'm kind of with you. If somebody put a bullet to my head and said, you have to pick money line, I'd be with you on Tampa plus 141. It's ridiculous value for a team that looked as good as they did in game 1. I'm going to play it much safer here. Tampa Bay plus 1.5 at minus 179, which is chalky, but it's a number you can certainly get some value in if you throw it into a parlay, which I know many of you probably will if you're watching right now. Here's the trouble. And we saw this last year. They tried to change it. Tampa has such a significant advantage between the pipes. It's like I picked Winnipeg to beat Vegas. I mean, that's such a huge advantage in the other net. And that's what, so Toronto, I don't think you can like either of their options. But Samsonov started 8 playoff games. He's lost 7 of them. And you've got the greatest playoff goalie of this generation in the other net. Like, that's really tough to overcome when you really don't play defense that well anyway. So I do think Tampa could go up 2-0 here tonight, but to play it safe, I do kind of feel like this is an overtime game where the whole series is on the line so early. Like, if Toronto loses in overtime tonight, obviously this Tampa Bay Lightning line would hit even if they lose in overtime, but people across the nation are going to have eyes on this one late. I don't think Tampa does what they did to Toronto last time, but I still think Tampa could very well win it. So I'm going to play it a little bit safer at plus 1.5 here.
Remus always talks about it on the show that I have a sick habit of tuning in to post-game shows of teams that have just shit the bed.
You do though, right? Like, that's your thing.
I absolutely do. And I wasn't able to, because of the game, the Jets game being after the Leafs, listen to any post-game audio. But man, the Overdrive show yesterday was, I mean, it's always phenomenal. I usually turn it on after Winnipeg Sports Talk, but I mean, the first hour of those guys talking about what happened with the Leafs and the lack of pretty much everything. One of their worst games. It literally was the opposite of what we were talking about in Winnipeg. The Jets played arguably their best game of the year and maybe for a couple seasons, whereas the Leafs, who had been they knew that they were playing this game at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning for 3 or 4 months. They've been getting ready for it for as long as I can remember a situation in the National Hockey League in years, and came up so small. And I don't know if you saw that clip that, I don't know whether it was Sportsnet put together or somebody, but the montage of the fans in the square.
That was good.
And just sitting there in the seats. I mean, it was wild. So yeah, the Misery Loves Company tour. If you like jumping on that, there'll be some angry fans somewhere after this game tonight. But if Toronto doesn't get it done, and I do think that is a very legit possibility. Open the phone lines now. Let's see what they've got. I'm just happy. I'm just happy for our guy Tommy Gazzola that he didn't have to. I really felt for him. You're off gallivanting golfing.
Yeah.
He's got to handle Oiler fans after game 1, and then reintroduce himself to the Nielsen Show text line at 6 a.m. the next day. That had to be tough. Oh, all while wearing a perm. Tom, you're the best, buddy. I can't believe you pulled that off.
Golfing Vancouver Island, living the good life. Poor Tommy's pulling a double shift with like 3 hours sleep. Tough one. Tough life there. All right, we do have an exclusive again. We hit this yesterday, Huss. Lay it out for us against a pretty nice number once again.
Yeah, it was plus 430 yesterday, and we've got another one plus 460 today. We are going to go with the Jersey Rangers over 5.5. And, again, we're looking for that middle between our two picks. Hopefully it happens. We've got the over 5.5 on Vegas Winnipeg. So basically those two games, 6 goals or more. and then the Avalanche money line. And we probably could have jacked this up more if we went for the Avalanche in regulation. I don't mind that. But as I said, we're getting a bit of a nicer number anyways. So let's be a little conservative. Avs money line. I think the big thing for us is early on seeing goal totals, hopefully early on. I had that over in the Florida-Boston game yesterday, and we were all in the lock shop chat. Patty was going on, and it was 0-0 for a while, I think maybe through the first period, and then a goal early on, and then they started coming, and obviously Florida, a huge win for Florida. I did say yesterday that I thought one of those two underdogs was going to win. Unfortunately, was on the Islanders and not the Panthers at a bigger number. But yeah, we got it on. I mean, I think we all like the Avalanche on the money line. So really those two totals, give us some goals. Let's have a fun night of watching the playoffs. 6 or more in Jersey Rangers, 6 or more Winnipeg Vegas. That one's locked in right now in the Coolbet exclusives at the Lock Shop Partner Parlay at plus 460. I said last night we were back. How about let's go and back to back?
Yeah, let's do it. Back to back. You got to love that. And hey, watch Coolbet socials of the Lock Shop Play of the Day coming up a little later on. Did one yesterday, and it hit because we're on fire right now in the NHL playoffs. So let's do it again tonight. Make sure you're watching for that. We'll have more puck picks for you tomorrow, heading into a Friday night slate in the National Hockey League. That should be a good one. Huss, enjoy that Jets game tonight. Look forward to chatting about it with you tomorrow, buddy, and we'll talk to you then.
Good luck, everyone.